Oh,
Okay, oh my God, that actually went on my phone because oh, stop it, stop it. Okay. Um, this is episode 55, if you can believe it. And today
mhm.
we have a guest, my friend Mary Lou.
There she
And
is.
there she is. And the topic today was Katie's idea, which was the value of long-term or lifelong friendships.
Mhm.
And I want to read to you, of course, I don't have it queued up, Katie's text, which started this because you had gone to visit a friend. And I said,
Mhm.
how was the trip?
Mhm.
And you said, hiya, wow, lots of emotions. I think we should do an episode on the value of long term friends, the
Mhm.
unique things that exist between two people when they've known each other for a very long time. You and I can talk about it too. That even though years and years go by, there is an inherent trust because maybe we were young and naive and we connected. I don't know, lots of thoughts. So, which
Mhm.
I thought that that captured it like perfectly. And I
Okay.
will tell you and warn everybody right now that I'll probably cry several times in this episode.
That was actually my ulterior motive was just to get you to cry. So,
You know that I will. I mean, I cried to Mary Lou yesterday. She talked me off the ledge about parenting older kids who don't give a shit about you anymore. I'm like,
yeah.
so Katie, tell me,
Mm.
us, and I've known Mary Lou since I was 15. Just that's why
Mhm.
she's here, lifelong friendships.
And I think
So
it's really interesting, yeah, because you and I met before then, but so we can talk on both things where two people that met each other very young but didn't have any interaction throughout the rest of their lives until later in life,
decades.
where you and Marylou
Mary Lou.
connected the whole time. That's interesting too, because what does that look like and why? Yeah.
Well, okay, I'll preface this by saying because I read this article that I'm going to read from it later, and that's when I'll probably cry, along with the other various times. But it talks about lifelong friends, long-term friends, where there can be periods of dormancy,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
you always come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to throw that out there because there can be Mary Lou and I had two distinct periods of dormancy, and we came back. Right? There are people that'll fall into a dormant period with that person and they won't reconnect with them. So tell me
Right.
about your trip.
That's the difference right there.
That's the
Why do
difference.
you or why do you not?
And then Mary Lou, in each of our dormant periods, one after high school, and then one like in our 40s. Um, each one of us, um, her first in the first one, and then me in the second one were the one we each reached out and each. So I remember because like
Okay.
I'm going to tell this one quickly because I love it. When we were in high school and we had our dormants period and we didn't really know what was going on, and I went up to college and I was freshman, new school in my dorm, whatever. And I got a call from the front desk. It was like 11:30 at night, like on a Thursday. I got a call from the front desk and they were like, "You have visitors." And I was like, I do. And I went down there and it was Mary Lou. You had
That's
driven there, remember, with Mitch and
oh,
Greg,
Oh my
and
gosh,
like
very
yes.
sweet.
just
So funny.
out of the blue. And that's what got us back together. So like that's what I mean about the ones that really, the ones that they don't go anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they survive everything, I guess is the best way to put it. So Katie, this is your topic, baby. Hit it.
Well, I've got so some of the thoughts. Um, Now let me ask you guys this: Do you guys so I one of my core values is consistency and connection, right? So I do pride myself in somebody that works at my friendships. Like people will laugh to be like, well, how do you know people from elementary school? Because I find value in not all of them, but the ones I do, I still know. And I have some childhood friends that I'm still very close to. Do you guys consider yourself like, well, I mean, to drive all the way out and see Ellen in college, even though there was a dormant period, obviously, Mary Lou, you hold friendships. Do you guys work at your friendships or do you consciously engage to stay connected or are you the other side where where when someone reaches out to you to connect with you, you'll engage, but you're not really one to initiate. What kind are you guys?
What do you mean? What
I
kind
mean,
are we in regard to each other, or what kind are
Just
we in
as
our
people.
as a friend
Oh,
in
I'm
Yeah.
a reacher
general.
outer. Everyone knows I'm an overtexter. Everybody knows that. Like, but that's how I maintain the contact. So,
Right.
like, I reach out to, I mean, Mary Lou and I pretty much text every day.
Mhm.
My friend group here, Amy, and Karen, we pretty much text every day.
Yeah.
My mother and my sisters have a group chat. I
Yep.
consider my mother and my sisters my friends.
Mhm.
We text every day. And it's kind of like you have circles of people. Like I have my super core group, like Angel was on, Mary Lou, Katie,
Mhm.
you. I text
Mhm.
you all the time.
Mhm.
Amy, and Karen. And those are kind of like my everyday touchstones. But then I still hold like my college friends, but those are the ones that Mary Lou and I are very similar in that sense that she's friends with all the people she went to college with still as well. But I'm not in contact with my college friends every day. That's more
Yeah.
like check in on a monthly basis type things. The ones that don't live here. Amy, and Karen, I've also known since college, but we just all happen to be in the same town.
Okay.
Um, so I kind of have like tiers, and it's not that I care more about one tier than the other. It's just I have a very, very, very core group,
No, that makes sense.
and then I mean, and then I have like kind of like a guy core group too, like
Yeah.
like Todd McQueen, who Mary Lou knows. Todd and I have been friends since high school. He and I are in contact probably a couple times a month.
Mhm.
Another friend, Mark, that I've known since I was like 15, same thing. So I just think when you realize the value in someone, and when they talk about finding your people, which is a
Mhm.
really important thing,
Yep.
because then you just feel completely 100%. I can tell Mary Lou anything.
Mhm.
I know I can. So Mary, how are you with yours? I mean, I know our conversation interaction, but like Amy and Maureen and all them, like you pretty much are in contact with them all the time. Well, a lot.
I am, but like as I'm listening to you, I'm sort of thinking like for me, yeah, I'm the person who always invites people over to my house. Like everyone's been to my house 10 million times more than I've been to theirs, right?
Mhm.
Like
You've been
I'm
to
not saying that
mine.
meanly, but it is, but it's like, but it's also my, what I was trying to say though, it's situational sometimes too though. The relationships maybe that do end up like going long term are the ones that can weather the different times in your life when you can't reach out. I
Mhm.
mean, I have, when I'm joking and saying everyone's been to my house all the time, the truth is I have a 10-year-old child and I'm a single parent. So I invite my friends over all the time
Mhm.
because I can't go anywhere. I
Mhm.
can't, babysitter is very expensive. Like to go out on a weekday night and stuff like that, like that's not really like in my lifestyle right now. So
Yeah.
yeah, I hound my friends to come over because I feel like I
I
can't go
remember
anywhere.
that those times too when
Right.
we were
uh,
older and had a younger child. And yes, absolutely, there's that.
Right.
Yeah.
And but even going back to baby years, right now, reverse yourself back to like baby times. You don't have time to call anybody. If any of my friendships were reliant upon me calling them for like the first 3 years of either of my children's life, I wouldn't have friends. I was overwhelmed. That was a difficult, time. And like you said, even for me personally, I have two children that are 10 years apart. So my second child is 10 right now. All my friends are becoming empty nesters, if not
Yep.
already right now. They've
Yep.
got kids just leaving for college. Like I'm in fourth grade. So like again, like my situation doesn't lay out the same in friendships. And my friends also have to weather that if they want to be friends with me because I can't do, half the stuff that they can do because they can literally just do whatever they want. I'm like, oh, like we have bedtime at 8 on a Tuesday. So
Yeah.
yeah, no. So that's something that is a proving thing for friendships, right? How many eras of your life can it go through, especially when you can't be a great friend all the time? I certainly can't.
Yeah.
Trying, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seasons, yeah, the seasons of your life, right? Like, I mean, when my kids were little, um, you end up, getting to know their parents of where they go to school or like,
Right, hanging
yeah,
out with other people that have
yeah,
little kids.
yep.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
or like if they're in play groups or camp or whatever, and I met people through that way, but those just seemed to be like seasonal friendships that kind
Yeah,
of
agreed.
served a purpose at the time,
Yeah.
and then not that they ended on some horrible note, they just kind of dissolved, right?
Naturally. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
the
naturally.
majority, right. If anyone lasted, then it was a unique person that you
Right.
probably would have been friends with anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, but I wanted to like throw in too, like, so when you guys are saying, like, I don't want to say we're old, but like when you're saying a lifetime or a long-term friendship, like I was thinking prior to like logging onto this, like, okay, 40 years ago is 1986, sadly. So any friendships that you've had pre 86, that's 40 years. That's more than a lifetime in my mind, or at least
Yeah,
it should be.
agreed. Yeah, it
So, but
doesn't
then
have
I
to be like
have,
in your lifetime, but like, yeah.
but I'm just saying, but then you have other friends. I have friends that are 40 plus years, but then
Yeah.
I have a friend that I met 16 years ago who's like my closest friend in some
Oh, for
ways.
sure.
And it's
Yep.
like, but then all of a sudden you're like, 16 years is a long time to be friends, like we're saying, through kids and all this other stuff in
Yeah.
life. But I'm like, but damn, I have like 46-year friendships too. So,
Yeah.
Well,
it's
there,
weird to compare.
think about my mom. She's 86. She's been friends with Judy and Grace since she was 19.
Right.
That
That's
That's longer
since she
than
was
insanity.
most
Like
19.
marriages.
70
Yeah.
years of a
Yeah.
relationship. Right.
Yeah.
That's
And
craziness.
they are
But
like
true
going
fact,
strong,
they
right?
value the friendship, right?
Right.
Even if they criticize each other, complain about each other, do whatever, people may do when they're friends with each other. That's what you do, right? But
Yeah.
obviously it's valuable to them because they keep it, they keep it close no matter what, this many
I,
years.
I think it's amazing when I tell people that. I mean, like Judy and Grace, who are the main two, and it's funny because Judy, growing up, lived behind Marylou, remember, and like they would never throw your balls back after went over the
I was
fence.
gonna say
Uh,
wiffle balls over the fence, not coming back. Do not hop the fence and get
Say
them.
goodbye.
That's a real thing.
Do not pass go. Yeah.
We're
Isn't it
gonna eat
hilarious?
those. You can't have them back.
But like Judy and Grace are the two main ones, and again there was Kathy and and Kathy and Barbara. I mean, I've known these women my entire life. Like
Yeah.
Grace is my godmother, like that. It's to me that's I don't know how often that happens, really. That when, so you make someone like the godparents, do you really think they're going to be in the child's life when they're 54? I mean, you don't even look that far
I
ahead.
don't know. Do people even like do godparents anymore?
Well, I mean, I was born in 72, so
Yeah.
my kids
Um,
don't have any. My kids aren't even baptized. Huh? How about that? How about that, internet? Take that and run with it. But like, but and that trust me, that was not my choice. Okay, I'll just put that out there. But who I mean, when I met Mary Lou sophomore year of high school, because we didn't know each other freshman year. Um,
no.
do I think I would still know her at 54? I don't think I gave it
I
any
don't
thought.
know.
I don't think I gave it any thought.
we
No, I
we
mean,
weren't
like,
thinking about 20 for it then, right? Like that's the
heck
thing. It's
no.
like all of a sudden, yeah. Who
Trying to
knew?
find. So this is what I wanted to see. So here's an
Yeah.
example, and I was thinking about values. So here's a picture. This is a
Okay.
high school friend of mine, and when I started going back out to California a couple years ago, so this is 2023. Here's his picture of me and my friend Adam,
Hold on, I have to put my glasses on.
right?
Oh,
This is
that's a
And
happy
2020.
and
shot.
he wrote, and this for me, like
My God.
this is really
I'll
what
be
it
right
means.
back. I have to grab something really quick. I'll be right back. Keep
Okay.
talking. Keep talking.
Oh,
And so he he wrote, "Look who I found, my family from back in high school days. It's been some 30 years, but hugging this incredible human still feels like home." And for me, I think that's when I hear something like that, when someone finds that sense of safety, like in me,
right,
um,
right, right.
that's
Feels like
what
home
it's,
says it all.
yeah, yeah. And I feel so lucky to have friends that feel that way about me,
Sure.
and that feeds my soul. That's such a, and maybe, you know what, maybe it goes back to I just really like being a safe place for people, you know? And
Sure, sure.
so I think that it doesn't seem to be, and even Ellen has said that, even though, I mean, how many years it took for us to connect again, but what didn't take long for her to go, I think I feel safe with you, you know? And I was just talking to
Right.
Mary Lou about, you know, my friend's quote. He said, uh, 30 years, but hugging this incredible human still feels like home. And so that's what I was,
Oh, nice.
for
That's nice.
me, being a safe place for people I care about is like, that feeds my soul like so much that I think that's part of what I, you know, nurture my friendships, because that feeds me, you know, it really does. And knowing that I can go, haven't seen somebody in 30 years or something, and it still feels that way is incredibly life affirming for me. Yeah.
Well, and so Katie, I wanted to say, because how Katie and I reconnected
Mm-hmm.
was actually very like serendipitous and kind of
Yeah.
random, random, and because that story hasn't been told in a long time, but
Yeah.
long and short of it, started the podcast with somebody else who then had to recuse herself because she was going through a pretty insane child custody battle and didn't want to be part of this. And I was going to interview my therapist, and then Rachel said that's a dual relationship.
A
I
dual
can't be on.
relationship.
It
Yeah.
violates
Mhm.
some like ethical kind of code. So
Good for
then
her,
I said,
because a lot of
and
them would be like, whatever, I'll do it. Yeah.
yeah. And then so Heidi, who I used to live across the street from, and our sons are friends, and are also off to Yosemite National Park in, I don't know, 11 days to work. I said, Heidi, do you have any therapist friends that would do like an episode with me? And she was like, oh, let me ask my friend Katie. And I was like, okay. And so then and she's like, she says she'll do it. And I'm like, awesome. And she gave me Katie's LinkedIn profile. I didn't have to look. I was like, Katie Miller.
You're like,
And
I
so
know her.
And so we hadn't seen each other since
Mhm.
eighth grade, ninth
Mhm.
grade, because Katie had moved away. And so I got her contact information, and I knew it was her. And then she knew it was me. Like we texted, and
Mhm.
then we talked on the phone, and I was like, Katie Miller. I mean, and didn't feel when I spoke to her on the phone that a day had gone by. And this is a totally complete adult relationship,
Mhm.
and we hadn't spoken since we were 14.
Yeah,
And
and
I
that's so
still
interesting.
didn't feel like anything had gone by. So I love that story. But also, I ran and got something after you were showing your picture.
Yeah, yeah. What do you got? Let's see.
Me and Mary Lou.
Oh, Jesus. I
I
got to
think
put
we
my
were like
glasses on for
16.
this. Look
I
at
don't
that
know why
color
I have a
block
Pop Tart in my
rugby
Oh,
mouth.
shirt I'm
that is
wearing.
some Forenza Benetton action
I'm
right there.
like, come on with
Right?
that
Oh,
color block
totally.
rugby.
Like the
It's
cute
like a
little shorts with
full-blown
the
rubber button rugby.
Oh yeah,
Love
like
rugby
shorts with a
shirt.
giant sweatshirt. I'm
Right,
wearing I'm wearing a
exactly. Which is
Bennington
happening
college
now.
sweatshirt.
There you
Yeah,
go. There
I'm
you go.
wearing a Bennington college sweatshirt
Do you know
because
how much that's
um
worth right now?
I well, I don't have it anymore because I literally was like, I told my parents, don't ask me. They're like, what colleges want to look at? I'm like, how about Bennington? The most expensive college in the United States.
I was like,
And
I
by
don't
the
even know
way,
Bennington.
it's in Vermont. And basically you live in like tents and cabins. That is so not my thing. That was when I was kind of like in my hippie like
Yikes.
stage. Like, I'm gonna go live in the woods. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And then my
Mhm.
parents pay like thousands and thousands of dollars for me basically to camp.
Right, just
But
go to
like
Outward Bound at that point.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Call
get
it a
our prom
week.
picture too, but decided not to do that.
Yeah.
And
So this friend
Let's
that
not
I
get
went to
crazy
not
with
go,
the
our
1
prom
million
picture,
but you
euro
know,
but
the
picture.
dormancy thing is interesting. Now, I have two versions of that I've experienced with
Mhm.
people that kind of like life just changes, whatever, or unintentional dormancy. I mean, dormancy. Ellen and I were not really close in middle school, but we knew each other very well. But we only like hung out outside of school a few
We had
times.
like Kelly Reeves and
And we
Anna.
had
Mary
mutual
Lou knows Anna
friends, and
Chandra.
yeah,
Yeah, so we had like
yeah,
crossover
and
friends.
yeah, and but there are times like I have had friends where, like we were talking about stages of life. Like I had this friend who I met her when she was in her 20s. I was in my 30s, and my life progressed. And then, Liz and I had Jack, and she kind of went in a crazy place for a while. And I had to go, man, I love you and I'm here, but I'm going to have to step back while you're doing whatever you're doing here because I can't be a part of that. And so, but one thing she and I have always had is like, when you're done doing whatever you're doing, come on back and let's process it and talk about it and let's move on. So I have intentional dormancy sometimes where I have to tell people, because when you're in somebody's life for that many years, people go through stuff, right? And if it's something I can't be involved with because maybe it's not legal or whatever it is, doesn't mean I don't love you.
Shit.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
Yikes.
I've had some characters. And the friend that I went to see in Wisconsin, she's, a long-term recovering addict. And when we first met, she was not
Mhm.
using, but then went down that road and as a result of her addictions now has seizure, she has epilepsy and a variety of things, but she's really turned her life around. And but I had to step away from that relationship too, because I was just like, that's not where it doesn't mean. And I think we need to learn more about relationships aren't black and white, especially friendships.
Yeah.
It's just like, man, I have to take a time out, but we all grow and change and do things. So when you're done with that, I'll be back. And sometimes I think, because I have been told this, that that's a very unique thing about me. And one of the things that my friends um, respect and love about me the most is because I'm a huge, Ellen, not going to do the abandonment thing. There's a difference between, I wash my hands of you, than as opposed to saying, I have to step back because this isn't safe for me and my family right now. But if you want to
Yeah.
go meet at the park and have a conversation that's not in my home or something, yeah, we'll do that. But I think that's so important. People lose so much, and I like to be that thing that they know they truly won't lose. I just might have to step away.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this age, by this age, not that, I love people, obviously. I mean, I've made friends at every job I've ever had. I'm still in contact with those people here and there, because we don't work together anymore. And like we've talked about, life, right? Um, and at this point in time in my life, I know who I can really, really, really trust. I know. And Mary Lou and I were just talking yesterday, and there have been friends that I have walked away from,
Mhm.
long time
Mhm.
friends, due to, and Mary Lou knows the story, high school friends that it was the fallout from my divorce. It
Mhm.
was, my exes, as we've talked about with people like him, the using of social proof, right? You got to get to these people before I get to them, and you got to tell them all these horrible things, and you've got to get them on your side and get them on your side.
Yeah, I
And
call that when exes campaign. They go on campaigns to try to win over the friend group. And yeah, my ex did that too. Yeah.
with these, in particular, two of them, I don't think the other ones really were involved. It was he focused on the two that were in town. It worked, and like I said to Mary Lou yesterday, Um, I think it might have worked. I think that when he went and filled their head with whatever he filled their head with, I think it worked because honestly, the friendship at that point in time had become habit. It was already
Oh,
kind of
I remember when
denigrating.
you went through this. This was,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But it's like they wanted to believe it. They
They
wanted to
wanted to
believe
believe
what
it.
he was saying. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, that's
I
really
think
what
that's
it
what
is,
happened.
right? Like the one thing I just wanted to, if I may point out that Katie just said that was really catching my ear was when you're talking about stepping away from a friend because her lifestyle is whatever, you still said we were friends, but I stepped away. You weren't like we were friends, then we weren't friends, then we were friends. In
Yeah.
your own words, you're still friends, but I need to wait for you to, have some sort of like acceptable place in my own life. But in your
Right.
mind, you're still friends and you're still having that connection with a person. I don't
Hmm.
think everybody is like that. And people that don't hold on to their friendships long term are people that feel like they're benefiting themselves from like having a cutoff, that they're just like, that person is negative and I can't have that in my life, done. And
Hmm.
they have more of that. Some people have that sort of very black and white sort of final mentality about people. Either I can want you or I don't want you. And those are the people that maybe don't have the super long-term friendships because they're not willing to weather the other person just being a human that's like full of faults like every other human out there.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know what else too? I like that situation with those other people, like Marylou and I were saying, like they wanted to believe it. I think
Yeah.
they were at a level with me that I think they almost disliked me more than they liked me, and I couldn't really pinpoint or tell you why.
Because they're not
I don't
looking at
know.
their own shit, and your ability to do what you do makes them have to look at the fact they can't do it, and then they don't want to look at it. So then they're going to blame you. Yeah.
And I'm
Right.
gonna
And
say
people are
this too.
judgmental, period.
Mhm.
Oh, well, yeah, but I'm gonna say this too. You don't get to the point in your life having friends for 40, 50, 60 years without having a level of, at times, forgiveness, empathy, compassion, understanding, acceptance, right? Support, just being there. I will say this, and I feel this very strongly. I will never forgive them for that.
Mhm.
So this is not a dormant season in that situation. That was the end of it.
Yep.
It
Right.
was the
You're
end of
making
Yeah.
a decision that
Yeah.
because
says
I
you do
can't
not
trust
want
them.
to be friends with them.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
can't
Well,
trust them.
and we've had those conversations about, yeah, when that trust is, and there's a time to do that. I mean, I've been very blessed that there's only been a couple times I've been profoundly betrayed, but that, it's just, I think people can misinterpret, um, kindness and generosity and patience as being a doormat sometimes.
Oh,
And,
absolutely.
but anybody will tell you, my wife says, the thing is when I'm done, I cut you so clean with a scalpel, you don't even know that it's done. And it's just, it's, and I don't return. And it takes me a lot to get there, but once it's done, and I've done that with, I have family members. Oh, that's the thing. I've got family members. I've done that cut, that precision cut. I don't have a problem with it if that's what you've become. Like you're talking about those friends, Ellen. And this is the thing too, when I look at people, right? I mean, when we think about family, isn't it, if you're trying to figure out or get a sense of somebody, like if you're dating or something like that, look at how long they've had friends. Don't necessarily make an assessment on whether or not they're in contact with their family or anything like that. Look at their friend group. How long have they had friends? Because like you were saying, Ellen, that talks about journeys of empathy, forgiveness, discovery, and so if you got friends like we have for 40 years or sometimes 50 years, that says that you have that skill set. And that's the kind of stuff you want to see in somebody. And my mom did not have friends, for example. She didn't.
Mm.
All her friends, she could not maintain a friendship. I think about your mom, Ellen, with her long-term friends, and, neither does my sister. They just run everybody off. And I think that's a huge reflection when you're trying to get a pulse on a person's personality to look at.
Yeah, and I think, well, it says something about the person, right?
Mhm.
If you, I don't know, dating or even meeting like a new friend, right? And if I was to say to someone, okay, say in a dating aspect, har, Mary Lou and I talked about that yesterday too. If the guy said, well, all my friends are from my job. Do you have any
Right.
friends from high school? No. Do you have any friends from college? No. Do you have any friends from post college? That shows me, that would say to me on some level that that person might look at people as disposable, right?
Mhm.
And,
Or they're just low effort, as we have
or they're
talked
just
about as
low
Low
well, too.
effort.
effort.
Some people are just like, wow, I like you. You're great. See ya. Right? Like they just don't want to put the effort into connecting with people, which sometimes takes so much effort. And, one thing that just came to mind, I want to ask you guys, have you ever like tested a friendship, been like, I'm not going to call this person again. I'm going to wait and see how long it takes them to call me. Have you ever done that test? I have, and I've never spoken to the person again. And I was like, damn, it was
Mhm.
me. It was all me. But I look at it
One-sided
differently
friendships.
long
They
term, but I
talk
look at
about
it
those.
differently in long
Yeah.
term though too, because it was a person that when I called them, they would be like, "Oh gosh, I'm so happy to hear you. Yeah, I'd love to go for a glass of wine or something,
You're
but
like,
would never initiate it. And
where
after
you
a
bet?
while, when my life got just so crazy and I was like, wow, I haven't called her in a while. And then I was like, wow, I wonder if is it really only up to me? And then not so much intentionally, but it just became that I never called her again and we never hung out again. And I was like,
Kind of like,
so
oh,
what does that mean? So you liked me, but you just weren't willing to put any effort whatsoever. And like
yeah,
even like a year later, you didn't think of me and think like, hey, I wonder how she's doing. So
Yep.
then there's like some things with friendships are so like defined. Sometimes you're like, I've decided not to be friends with this person, or hey, I hate you and I really am never going to talk to you again. But sometimes there's all these like weird things. You're like, why aren't we friends? Why didn't you ever call me back? Like, it was only because I called you, and then you have these like sort of like weird gray areas with friendship that cause a lot of internal discomfort, right? For
Yeah.
me, it does.
Yeah.
yeah. No, and what did I say to you, Mayor? Oh, this article that I read in regard to the value of long-term friendships or the benefit of long-term friendships, women who have friends live longer
Hmm.
than just women who are like married or have a
Hmm.
partner. It's
Hmm.
true. And like I said to Marylou yesterday, we had a long conversation yesterday. She talked me off the ledge, and I feel like my kids don't
All things
need me
happen.
anymore. Um, you think it's a dream until it happens, and you're like, what the hell happened? But like I was saying to her, I said, I'm at a point in my life, I'm going to be 54, right? 54, 54, 54. And, I was married for 20 years.
Hmm.
I've dated, I've had a couple relationships. All of a sudden, I was reading this article about older women and how they're swearing off dating, and everything that fulfills them is their friendships, their
Hmm.
family, their children, their
Yep.
hobbies, whatever. And I remember I said to Mary Lou, and that they don't care about having a partner. And I was reading this article. I was like, yeah, right. These chicks are kidding themselves. And then I thought about it. I'm like, that's where I'm at.
You're
Yeah.
like, no, they're
You
so
know,
happy.
Mary
Where
Lou,
I'm
my
at.
one of my dear friends of 30 plus years was on her podcast. Her name is Leah. And my dad bought the house two doors down from us because he wanted to make an investment. And Leah's renting it from us. And
Cool.
so she was in Rochester for years. So now
Yeah.
that's Aunt Leah, And
Yeah.
so Leah, I was just talking to her not that long ago. I'm like, so you're feeling good about yourself? You got a home. Have you thought about dating? She's like, why? I got you and Liz and Jack and Em, and I got my dog and I'm playing music. We're gonna build my garden this year. We're gonna,
Yeah.
it's like zero. She's like, you're my family. You guys are here. That's all I need. Yeah.
It
Well, it's
is
like the
because
revolution of 50-year-old women, right? Like finally we
So,
know what we want. No, like we've evolved
mhm.
into, and this is what it really is for most people. And I'm sorry, Ellen, I didn't mean to
no, go
interrupt you.
ahead, go
I'm
ahead, go
a
ahead.
awkward interrupter on these type of calls. Um, but I'm just saying the revolution is middle-aged women finally getting out from under the day-to-day, like taking care of kids and, managing the household responsibilities to like what do we actually want in life. And oh wait, there's a huge wave of divorces because the whole thing is that we're realizing that who we are and that we're the only ones that can give it to ourselves.
Yeah.
And your partner romantically, especially a guy, can't even, they're not deep enough to even know what it is. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So your
Well, then I
female
look at,
friends are the
yeah,
ones that get it, is my point. Your
yeah,
female friends get it, and male, whether it's a friend or a boyfriend or a husband or whatever, they just don't get it.
Or a
And I'm
child.
reading a lot about the brain and men's brains. I'm sorry. It's not their fault. I'll just
they're
say
very
that.
different.
They can't go where
Whatsoever.
we go thought wise, and they can't go where we go depth wise when we're just talking about, like, here's what I want every day in my life. They're like, yeah, me too.
And then,
I don't know. I
another
mean,
thing too, it's like, you know, our generation was kind of sold the Disney princess thing, like Prince Charming, knight in shining armor, la da
mhm.
la da la, like all that stuff. Um, and not that there's not good men out there,
I was
preface,
like, I didn't
preface,
nobody sold me that
preface.
one. I wish I
But that was kind of what we like. I mean, Sleeping Beauty and Cinderella and all this stuff. and, girls are being princesses and brides for Halloween, like stuff like that. And this perpetual notion that your life is complete if you have a partner. Perpetual
Mhm.
notion, I mean, we'll
Yeah.
frame it for straight women, Katie, right now. Like perpetual, notion that if you have a husband, your life is complete. Okay.
Mhm.
I would say, I'm even talking about girls in their 20s and 30s. They're
Yeah.
not buying into that.
And they say the same thing about having children too.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's become a huge thing.
That's
And,
changing. Yeah.
I'm definitely, as you know, we'll get some down votes on this one because I'm saying what I'm saying,
Well, you get
but
them anyway. That's
I
your
get
fan,
him anyway.
your fan person.
I've got a dislike stalker. I swear to God. I think this person has like 5 different YouTube accounts. Constantly, constantly,
That's okay.
constantly.
That's all right.
Um, oh, I did.
Hurt people, Ellen.
That's
They're
I know.
just hiding behind their computer.
I put out a 3-minute video the other day, literally saying, how can you dislike a children's book that I read from? Who are you? Who are these people? Anyway, so there will be some, probably backlash for saying that you get to a certain age, you don't feel like the you don't feel like there's the one. You don't feel like there's the soulmate. And you also don't feel like the one or the soulmate is actually going to make your life any better. Like it's not going to complete it. It's not going to give you this supreme happiness. I'm a total
Right. That's
romantic.
what you get from your girlfriends. That's what you get from
Right.
your female friends. The whole point of this entire topic, right?
Right.
It's your non-romantic friends that fulfill all those things about you that like oftentimes, or I'll just say oftentimes, your partner does not.
Mhm.
And women decide to be friends with each other. And I think that a lot of 50 something year old men don't have the same type of friend group sometimes because partially because they don't put the effort in, but and partially I just think because they don't value it again because we do. And I'll just say I have a group of friends from elementary school, from my before I met Ellen, from my K through 8 Catholic school. So I have like 4 friends that I've known since first and second grade.
Mhm.
And most of us get together, right? Like 4 of 5 get together. The one never shows up. So, okay, we don't call anymore. That's how that works. But
Maureen,
the one,
Carrie, and Annette. I know them all.
right. So,
And I love
yes,
them.
and Carrie was saying her mom, who's 70 something years old, like 75 years old, she was saying, my mom hangs with her high school friends all the time and they always do all these like crafts and stuff. And she was like, it's awesome. She's like,
Mhm.
they literally just hang out and like do crafts and like have fun. And she's like, it's like literally like sustaining my mom. Like, and so she was like, so do you guys want to come over and do some crafts? And I'm like,
Are we
I'm
at
not
that
even a
point?
crafty person, but yes, I
Are we
did.
at that
I went
point?
over there. I painted a flower pot, and we just like had like coffee and bagels, and like did some crafts at a dining room table.
Well, and I
I'm
think
like,
it's
this is
so
so
important.
fun.
You're so right. And to model that for your children. I mean, my kids
Right?
have,
She was craving what her mom had.
yeah, my
Mhm,
kids have been
mhm.
surrounded by our friends. And, when my daughter was 16, she wanted all our friends to go bowling with all our friends. She didn't want to, she didn't want to deal with the drama in her friend group. Um,
Right.
and I think about, like I was saying, my mom didn't have sustainable friendships, and I'd watch these people come and go in her life that I'm like, well, where's so and so? Because I that she was kind of a staple in her whatever, these weird excuses. Because we're not only nurturing these long-term friendships with our friends, these are our children's lifelong people in their lives too,
Sure, absolutely.
you
Oh,
know,
yeah. Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah. That's
it's
another great point because
Mhm.
not only do I have, Marylou and I have Angel and I have you and I have Amy and Karen and,
Mhm.
people I'm probably not thinking of right now, but I have their kids
Yeah,
as well.
that's what I'm
Um,
watching. Yeah, and I never thought of that on the flip side, right?
awesome.
We were the kids, right? Of
Right.
our parents' friends. And now I look at Leah, who I'm so grateful. I mean, she's like, well, she makes jokes, that Jack and Emma are gonna have to take care of her. But they do, they have our children too. So if they didn't have children And then I have like some of my dear friends' children who are adults now. And it's just crazy. Yeah, that whole full circle. That's
Cool.
really
I love
interesting.
it. I think it's great. Okay, I just wanted to make a quick point.
Yeah.
I'm gonna loop back. We're not disparaging men. We're not disparaging men. We're just saying that there is fulfillment in having the friendships that we've had for all of these years. Okay, this is not a substitution type thing. It's just that
Not meant to disparage, just
No.
objectively
exactly.
And one of my
commenting on
dearest
people's
friends,
ability to have a
yeah,
relationship.
and my dearest friends, and I was luckily my father, all his best friends are women, and except now he's got one of his buddies, but one of my dearest best friends is a man, but he does struggle with finding connectivity with other men his age. You know, he prefers the company of women. He's very straight. He's married to one of my best friends, and but he wants those deep conversations. He wants that intensity. He was also raised by women, you know, and I do
My
find,
dad was.
and so was my dad. So raised by women, they have a tendency to be a little bit more in touch with that.
I wanted to make a point. I was reading an article one day about how men in their 60s and 70s are struggling to have friend groups
Mm,
and after they've been widowed, and that's because their wives were their social coordinators. Right?
absolutely.
They did all the, oh, we're going out to dinner with Tom and Jill on Friday at 7 o'clock, or oh, we're gonna have a cocktail party, and this couple's coming, and this couple's coming, and that was their social interaction. Their wives were their like, cruise directors. And
Mhm.
so now that they're gone, and these men hung out with these other men in social situations that involved couples and
Mhm.
never reached out to like go golfing or start a card game or do whatever. And then the
Mhm.
wives pass away and they're like, now what? And they
Mhm.
and they don't know the first thing about trying
Their
to
social, right, because their
get out
social skills were being um supplemented basically by,
there.
yeah.
Right. And they talked to some of the children of these men and who are grown and they're like, well, I can't make friends for my dad. Like, I'm surprised my dad doesn't know how to like go out and like do this. But see, that's foreign to me because my father had a ton of friends.
Yeah, my
And
dad.
he had friends from elementary school and middle school. Like, so I saw him, he had very healthy friend groups through his entire life because he was a very social person. Um, Mary, you're frozen, just so you know.
She was getting ready to say something, and then she
I
just,
know, and look, it
and
just went.
then, and then they did that to her face. Poor thing.
It's like the pictures you were showing me
It's like the
earlier.
pictures of me.
But yeah. Oh, I'm so mad that she's gonna come back in probably.
Yeah.
So that is a point that's been made. And another thing that is out there is that having friendships, close friendships, lifelong friendships, and I'm not saying you can't make good friends later in life. That's
Yeah,
not
I
what I'm
have
saying
I
at all.
have friends from all different eras. Yeah.
Yeah. But they're saying that there's like actual health benefits to it.
Hmm.
Like for like real health benefits. Um,
Well, let's look at what happens to people in isolation. How can you not say that it's going to have health benefits of, yeah,
right, right.
yeah.
So,
And
I think it comes down to you find your people. It also comes down to there does have to be some effort. There has to be effort in any type of successful relationship.
hmm.
Um, so I just wanted to read this article that I
Yeah.
got
Hmm.
that's from I think she just texted me. No, she didn't. Um, First of all, I just want to get the source because I think I kept it open. Oh yeah, it's from Well-Being.
Okay.
That's the name of it.
Hmm.
Um, the Well-Being Collective is what
Okay.
it's called. Okay. So it says the long view, right? And they even give you in this article, like if you have like a template to send a text to reconnect with someone you haven't talked to in a long time.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So it's a really cool article. It's like it's also managing friendships when you're stretched thin, like we were talking. Oh, shit, Marylou's trying to get there yet. Sorry. Just talking away. Um, it has all these headings that are pretty cool, right? Um,
Mhm.
practice the check-in, not the catch-up. I like that one, right? Like, don't let too much time. She's
Mhm.
back. But what I wanted to read, okay, what I wanted to read was from the end, kind of like the summary, and it's called The Long View.
Okay.
I'm so surprised I haven't cried yet, so obviously I've stored it up all for this moment. Um, no, so but it makes sense. It's kind of like what we were talking about. Like your
Okay.
forever friends are the people who have what? Wait, this is my better side. Your left side's always your better side, just so you know.
Yeah.
I learned that from Mariah Carey. Your forever friends are the people who have watched your story unfold across decades, who remember your dreams before they became plans, who loved you through the versions of yourself you've outgrown.
Here it comes.
You can do this. And this makes sense too. In a culture obsessed with networking and instant influence, these long-standing friendships offer something revolutionary. They ask nothing of us except to remain human.
Mm.
All right. This is where it's going to get crocky.
Okay.
They love us not for what we can do or provide, but for who we are at our core. They know the person who existed before achievements and failures, before roles and responsibilities, just us. Before you became a mom, before you got that job, before, all that stuff. And so perhaps, and this also speaks to like dormancy and stuff like that. Perhaps the greatest gift of long lasting friendships is that they teach us how to love without conditions, how to hold space across time and distance, how to trust that some connections are strong enough even to survive the seasons of silence. I
I
think
love
that's
you,
great.
Ellen.
I,
It is great. It is. And maybe that's what it is. I mean, we're our purest form. There's less, layers to the onions when you're younger. And
Mhm,
and
mhm.
I think sometimes we look in the eyes of those people in our lives and we can see our pure selves sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And it's almost kind of like growing up together, right? And
Yeah,
when we
yeah,
when we talk about like marriages failing because people have grown apart or one person has grown and the other person hasn't, that happens in friendships.
yeah.
And the lifelong ones sustain because you're like in sync almost. Even though you've got
Mhm.
different things happening and there might be these
Right.
like seasons of silence and stuff like that. If you always come back because you are kind of synced up. And when relationships or friendships end, it's because you're not synced anymore. You're not. I mean, in a way, not that their life has to look exactly like yours. I'm talking about like when I said when these people believed what my ex said to them because they wanted to, that they were they I that they I think they want we weren't in sync anymore. We weren't.
Yeah, whatever that looks like, sometimes let's finish with that actually. What is when when you're not in sync anymore mean for you, Mary Lou? When's a person that's like, oh, or when's the minute where you're like, this is just not going to happen anymore? What is it for you?
I mean, when is it not in sync, I think, is as as each person evolves as a person, you decide what you want to put up with and what you don't want to put up with in life. And as we evolve as women and adults and everything else, sometimes there is you know what, I'm not accepting a certain thing for my life, or I'm not even accepting a certain type of influence in my life, sometimes is the case. So I think that there is that like synchronicity. Like if somebody is just so not in sync with you that you're like, you know what, I don't want that. And every time I interact with that person, it's a negative experience or it's making me
Mm,
feel bad about
Yep.
myself. And guess
Yeah.
what? I'm old enough to decide what I want in my life and not, who I choose to have in my life at, 50 plus years old versus my 10-year-old daughter, who we go through a lot of talks about friends in the past, actually, few months. she is a young child in school with a short-term need to like need a friend to get through recess, right? Kids need a friend or you can't even survive the school day type thing. There's a need and there's a um ability to just accept it because you need your friends. She just said to me the other day, she said, Mom, I need a friend because I was literally telling her, why are you letting that person treat you poorly? And it was so heartfelt. I need a friend for recess. I can't just be alone.
Yeah.
So, as we, as adult, intelligent women who are evolving, we're like, you know what? Here's where I am in my life. I can accept people that aren't like me. I can accept friends that are flawed because I'm highly flawed, but there is at some point, right? At some point, there's going to be a line maybe where you say, you know what? I don't want this person to have a part in my life anymore.
Hmm.
And that
It's a
depends on the
boundary,
situation.
right?
Yeah.
It's a boundary. And I think it really comes down to, like you said, this person, the interactions are negative. I don't, I don't come out of it feeling good about myself. Or if you feel like you're pouring everything into it and, they're just taking, right? I'm not saying
Hmm.
it has to be a transaction, but it is nice to have some
No, not a
reciprocity.
Well, you know what?
transaction.
People don't
And you
even
have to
think of
accept
it as,
some stuff.
people don't even accept, we don't even, like Marylou talking about sitting and waiting to see if that friend, you don't think about it as being transactional until all of a sudden you realize you're getting nothing.
Right.
I don't think about
Sure.
that I'm a giver and by nature unless I sit back, different than like I'm getting bitched at because I didn't do something at home. And I'm like, I don't think about all the things I do at home. But the
Until
minute
now.
you start telling me that I didn't, then I'm like, that's when I'm like, you want me to tell you what I'm doing?
Until, yeah,
You know,
right. Till
but
in the
it's
very
not like,
moment.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And
I, I just
yeah.
think it comes down to show people you care about them.
Hmm.
Right. And also, there has to be, I think, a balancing act of putting up with a little bit. The one thing about young people is I feel like young people today are taught to only interact with people who are a positive experience in your life. And you don't have to say hi to grandma if you don't like her. And,
Yeah, I
because
know.
of all these like extreme situations that are saying you don't have to talk to weird grandpa. But now it's become, we sort of tell the kids, well, right. I'm like, it's not like someone's
Yeah.
being abused
Now
situation.
I
Now
think
we just tell kids,
you're
if
polite,
it's
but
not positive for you, you
you
don't have to
don't have to
interact with
kiss grandpa
people.
on the mouth. I know.
Right. No, never. But I'm saying, I think a fundamental philosophy that kids are taught is like, you don't have to interact with someone who doesn't have a positive influence in your life. And sometimes that can be a little bit too short term.
Oh yeah.
Even your family, even people like, putting up with a sibling who like, oh my God, they drive me nuts. And I have said I wanted to kill him, but I actually don't. I do want him to live and be a part of my life in
Yeah.
some way. Like sometimes you have to put up with the bumps and bruises of people. You can't expect perfection, but you also can't let them like overrun your boundaries. So like, how do you find that balance? I don't know.
Yeah.
Katie, I came here for you to tell us.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just glad that I found that balance with the people that are in my life, and two of them are you. And Katie's got a hard stop at 12:30, which it's 12:30.
I know. I
It's
got a
right now.
client, so I'm gonna
So no,
have
I
to
thought,
go.
it's just important. Yeah, you know what? If you love someone, tell them you love them. If you care about them, tell them you care about them.
Yes, and
Really
the other
that
thing I was
simple.
going to say, what you said, that article, and then I really do have to go. That article about work on the check-in, not or the checkup, not or the check-in, not the catch-up or
What's up?
whatever. I find that um, that's the one thing I love about phones and stuff. I will send a funny meme or something to someone. I'm not asking how they are. I don't need anything in return. That's me. That just, if I have somebody that I know has lost somebody, last thing we want to hear is how you doing, just send
Right.
them a heart emoji or send them a puppy hugging each other or something. And that says so much, and that does not take a lot of effort. The minute they pop in your head, I
Just
got a
do it.
bunch of fun stuff for each friend that I'm like, oh my God, someday I got to remember to send this to Sean, or I got to remember, and I have them and I'm like, oh, I just feel like he could use this right now. Just send it off. And he
Sure.
I
doesn't have to
agree.
respond. Nothing has to be said. There's no expectation. It's just, there are easy
Agreed.
ways to check in and keep that link connected. Yeah.
Yep.
Good point.
Exactly
This
right.
was lovely. I have to go.
I know. So do I.
Bye, Katie. Good to
Bye,
see
guys.
you.
Good to see you too,
Bye,
Marilyn.
Ellen. Thank you for inviting me. Lifelong
You're
Bye,
friend.
welcome.
Ellen.
Love you.
Love my
Go
life.
get
Lifelong
those thumbs
friends.
down. Go get those thumbs down.
Oh, yeah.
Bye.